Salutations, everyone! So, throughout the Pokemon franchise, there have been subtle hints here and there that have referred to the real world, from the Lightning American to the documents in the abandoned mansion stating Mew's location in Guyana, South America. But, after the first generation games, this trend became relatively non-existent. However, when we take a look at the Pokemon anime, we see another trend that has some relation to the real world. Again, in earlier seasons, it was more common. We typically disregard this type of information because it doesn't seem too legitimate. It's really just quirkiness at the end of the day. However, what if I told you that I found indisputable information that proves this mystery once and for all?
That's right. Over on my channel, we discussed the strange characters seen in the universe of the Pokemon anime, and how they translated to actual English. If you haven't already seen it, we highly recommend you go check it out to get an understanding of how these characters impact the Pokemon world, and view the examples we have provided to get a grasp of how these characters actually work. These strange characters and symbols not only translate to stuff in the Pokemon world, but they also translate to real-world events. An example of that can be seen in this image where it translates to Pokemon Shinbun, or Pokemon newspaper. The text in the body paragraph translates to this using our key. Some recent opinion polls have indicated that the ruling Democratic Party of Japan is at risk of defeat in the election, which must be held within a year.
Another important thing to point out from this image is that all the paragraphs below the title say the same exact thing. They just have some minor differences, like typos. And some of you might be wondering how we got Shinbun from the title when it clearly says Sinbun or Sinbun. Well, this title is using the Kunrei Shiki style of romanization and not the Hepburn. I could go into more detail about that, but you can look that up. Now, we'll see this later on in other images. For instance, in this picture here, it clearly translates to Isshu Championship, it being spelled Issyu, but is pronounced Isshu. This happens to be the Japanese name for Unova region, by the way. With that aside, it's pretty interesting that this text is even in the anime. It's actually referring to the Democratic Party of Japan mirroring real-world events. And the funny part about this is that the screen happens to be Chorus's, so I suppose he keeps up to date with Japanese politics. Though you might be saying, this is only one document, that doesn't mean anything. Sure, you could say that, but let me tell you, we're just getting started.
Another example can be seen here on this computer screenshot, where the text translates to, under the terms of the agreement, the Japanese side will help the Central Asian country conduct a feasibility study, build and operate nuclear power plants, and develop the necessary human resources. The agreement said, links to Company Watch, Diet members are expected to attend this year's annual ceremony, commemorating the one.
To elaborate to what Mystic said, this text is referring to some type of agreement between Japan and a so-called Central Asian country, which I suspect is China. Also, it mentions Diet members. This is referring to the Japanese House of Representatives. So this is more proof that the Pokemon anime is relative to the real world. But that's not all.
This last one right here is literally Looker's passport and shows where he is from, his sex, and all sorts of other personal information. What's peculiar about this is his location says he is from Japan, not a Pokemon region, but Japan itself. Not only that, but from Tokyo.
Indeed, this confirms 100% that our favorite international detective hails from Tokyo, Japan. When I stumbled across this concept from the Kyoto Pokemon Group, I was completely skeptical of it. But with days of research and using this key, we can confirm that this is correct. And honestly, this is big information, something that most of us probably didn't even know. There happens to be more trends in the recent seasons that relate the Pokemon world to the real one. So much so that the two might be one and the same.
With all of these connections in mind though, we can pretty much confirm that the real world has a significant role in the world of the Pokemon anime. The letters in these pieces of evidence do not beat around the bush neither. When it comes to translating them, they are clear and easy to understand. With all these factors in mind though, we hope you guys now have a clear understanding that these sets of characters are not just pieces of gibberish. They have significance in the Pokemon anime and have uncovered some amazing evidence.
Most definitely. This has been an interesting segment, and I hope every one of you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to support by hitting that like or dislike button and comment down below. Otherwise, if you like the content in this video, please subscribe to the channel to be notified for more. With that being said, I'll catch you on the flip side.